Networking at a film festival led me on a purple carpet where I was interviewing the family and friends of the late Chadwick Boseman. I thought I was ready, and then I got there and spend your Mondays with Monet. It's Monet Mondays. Welcome back. ABFF is a film festival that happens every year in Miami. And for those of you who don't know, ABFF is American Black Film Festival. They have it every year in Miami. And this year they decided to start doing tours to all the major cities. Atlanta was a stop. I went, I networked, and I met someone who was in media, and she says she hires people all the time to work red carpets, to do events and things like that. So I was like, oh, please keep me in mind. I'm down. Now, a lot of times you go to these networking events, you say that to people and they never follow up, or you never follow up. But we both followed up. We hit it off. She invited me to this event. I thought I was going as a content creator. When I got there, she wanted me to take photos of the people coming on the red carpet. Now, I came from the content creator perspective, so I only brought my vlogging camera and my cell phone. So I asked her, can I do interviews instead? Thinking that I was ready. But little did I know, you should not just be getting on nobody's carpet trying to interview folks, especially not celebrities and not the family of the late Chadwick Boseman. But I did it anyway, and I'm so grateful that I did because it was a learning experience, and it just happens to be a public learning experience. Hi everyone, it's Monet, and I am here at the first annual nonprofit King and Queen Ball in honor of the late Chadwick Boseman. And I'm just talking with a few people about how he impacted their lives and what is a cause that they are going to stand by.
How has Chadwick Boseman inspired my life? I don't know how to answer that because Chadwick and I were really close friends. We're from the same hometown, Anderson, South Carolina. So our families basically grew up together. He was 3 years younger than me, so he was a buster at that time. Because when you're 15 and somebody 12, you were like, I really grew up with more of the older side of the family. So we didn't really personally connect until he was at Howard University. A friend of mine, I was in University of Pittsburgh in the master's program. And a friend of mine said, hey, there's only one person I know from Anderson, South Carolina. And he's at Howard University. I said, you don't know anybody from Anderson University, Anderson, South Carolina.
Wow.
So he took me to Howard. I walk into this dorm and it's Chadwick Boseman.
Wow.
And so that was the beginning of our personal relationship when he was at Howard University. So over the years, we did so much together, and I was a part of his growth in his career, and from being a student to being one of the A-list, one of our biggest celebrities in the game. So in terms of the impact he had on my life, Chad was one of the most profoundly grounded individuals I've ever met. And talk about somebody being in alignment and being in their purpose. There's no other person that I know. I mean, I would put him in the likes of, even though there was different type of careers and different impacts in society, but the lines of like the Martin Luther Kings, the Muhammad Ali's, he had the spirit of those guys and that type of alignment. So anyone who's in his space, his intimate space, you have to be great. You have to be great to even be included. And so that's the impact he had on me, is let me know that, hey, we can be so much more than we might imagine sometimes if we just get in our purpose and we commit to that and we stand on that. There's no limits to what we can do. And you see that in his career.
Yes. Okay. So that just, speaking of the greats, Chadwick, Martin, they all had a very powerful cause. We're here with a nonprofit. What is a cause that you stand by, die for?
Well, one is this one, because I'm showing up for this one because I think the next generation is the best investment that we can make, because we see what we're dealing with in the present tense, and we know what the past was. We know how it's impacting our present. We really got to put a focus on what the future is going to be. And so giving back to the people that's behind us, keeping them inspired, because they have so many things to deal with, so many things to contend with, so many things that's attacking them as all generations have had.
Yeah.
But if without that leadership, and I think for me, this is one of the most trying times in terms of the elders and the youth having a disconnect. And that's critical especially for our people, to not have the wise ones in our culture to be able to speak to the youth that are still learning and be able to have their communication be a healthy one. And I think events like this can help rectify that.
Nice. Establishing connection between different eras. That would be
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely.
Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on all social media platforms at I am Javon Johnson, as well as IamJavonJohnson.com.
I am Dr. Deanna Brown Thomas, and one of the daughters of the Godfather Soul, and president of the James Brown Family Foundation.
And you're also hosting the event tonight.
And I'm also hosting the event tonight as we pay tribute to my brother who played my father in the movie Get On Up.
Aww. Okay, so my question to you for tonight is, what does hosting this event mean to you?
It means everything because, like I said, Chad was my brother who played my father. His family, still, just the connection we have, it runs deep.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing how Chad was just a humbled young man. I knew when I met him, he came to spend the whole weekend in Augusta so he could learn about my father.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew he had come from a wonderful family. He had been raised
Mm-hmm.
properly
Mm-hmm.
and correctly, and because he was such a humble young man and so respectful.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that about him and knowing that they want to honor young people at this gala to tribute to him runs right in line. It's in alignment with who he was and what his spirit was about, because he was a helper. He was a teacher. He was an encourager. He reached back and he helped those who were trying to come up. Him and my son have a great relationship because my son worked on the set at Get On Up. And they would always stay in touch. You know, so he always would say, yeah, Chad this, Chad that. And that made me feel good that he would still be in touch with my son and be that encouragement and mentor to him. So Chad was that man.
Sure. On set, was there anything that you were like, okay, you reminded me of my dad too much? You calm this down.
The way he walked, he had my daddy's walk down. And if you've ever seen the movie, you really see it when he's walking in that red suit. It's at the last scene, and he's walking down the hallway in that red suit. And
Aww.
That's what it did to me. But he carried it over into Black Panther because it's a scene where he comes in, he's got on all black. He just walks in and you see that sway go. I said, look at James Brown.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You have a great night and
You
good job
too.
hosting or good luck hosting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you can hold it. Yes. So, can you tell me your names?
My name is Latia Boseman, LetiaBoseman.
My name is Dion Boseman, Dionne.
To make sure it's recording. Okay. So, what part of Chadwick's legacy are you most proud of?
His love for his family, his love for youth, his art center at Howard University. There's also a fine arts center in Anderson, South Carolina. So the opportunity for others to learn through academics, not just the stardom, but that they actually get a skill set that they can apply in day-to-day life.
Awesome.
I agree, the same thing. The Howard University and the school that's in Anderson, that's in his name.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to interview.
Yeah. His name lives on always.
Thank you. So, lesson number 1, know the details before you say yes, okay? Or don't. I feel like it worked out for me because everything that I do, I take as a lesson, a learning experience. And so for me, this was definitely a learning experience. And while there were some challenges, I do believe that there were some great moments, as you can see in the interview, where I got some great stories about Chadwick Boseman from his friends and family. And for that, I am proud. Some of the other things that I would recommend is have equipment. I didn't have lighting with me, Normally I carry a small light, but I don't believe I have my light with me. So I didn't have any lighting with me, and it ended up being a darker venue, a more moody venue. And with black and brown people, we got to have good light. So always carry lighting. Um, Something else, my mic. I had really kind of just got my mic, so I was still figuring it out. So learn your equipment before you just take it out and use it. I don't know if y'all remember this, but there's a moment in The Devil Wears Prada where Anne Hathaway's character, who is the assistant, has to um she has to know all the celebrities at this event, and she puts them all in the booklet for Miranda Priestley, her boss. I needed that. And now I understand that to the fullest because that is so real. While I was interviewing people, I noticed that I had to ask everybody kind of generic questions because I didn't know their backgrounds that well, and I really didn't do my research on the event. I only had like basic knowledge of what the event was, and it was honoring Chadwick. All I knew was we were honoring Chadwick Boseman, and it was there were going to be celebrity guests there, and I didn't ask for no other details, and I wasn't really given many other details. Little did I know it was a Kings and Queens ball where this nonprofit was awarding scholarships um, in Chadwick Boseman's name, basically. And so, yeah, I didn't know any of that. So, don't be just saying yes to stuff just because they say celebrities are going to be there and you're going to be interviewing them. Don't do that. Do your research, people. Learn from me, okay? So yeah, anyways, I needed that book because I did not know anything about a lot of the people that I interviewed. And I would suggest not doing that. Now, there was one interview where the woman, her assistant, came up to me and said, "Hey, you're going to interview such and such. This is who she is. This is what she does." And that was so helpful. So even if you don't have like a book or you don't know everybody, if you can have like one of their assistants, or if you can like kind of peep out who their assistant is and then go and ask them like before you interview people, then that would be even better. Um, yeah. And sometimes you see on those red carpets where they have someone announce who it is. That's really good. And if you're at the end of the carpet, or the end of the press junket, you can kind of pay attention to who's coming before and quickly like research them and find out some information so you can get some good interviews, and that your questions aren't generic, because a lot of people were asking the same questions down the line, and I know that can be very boring. That just takes the realness out of journalism, which is what I would consider this to be. I consider myself a content creator. I don't have a background in journalism. So, as someone who would, if I would do this more, I would definitely want to get in my journalism bag and like get more serious about or the research part of journalism so that you can get a good interview. I am proud of me though, because sometimes when you aren't prepared, you have to improv, you have to just, think on your feet. And for me, I immediately went to ChatGPT. I said, this is what's happening at this event. Give me some questions generic questions that I can ask. So I believe that like thinking on the fly, sometimes you got to do what you got to do because you said you were going to do it. So that is one thing that I believe went well. Also, most of the interviewees were very nice and very kind with me, um, and patient with me when I was figuring things out. Everybody was, well, pretty much everybody was eager to talk to me, and that was really nice. It was a great first experience. And would I do it again? Yes, I would do it again. This time I will absolutely, of course, be more prepared. One other thing that I learned is don't force some interviews. There were some interviews that I just did not include because the person that I was interviewing was not friendly, or maybe they were having a bad day and just did not feel like interviewing or doing interviews. And so the energy was so bad. As I was editing, I was like, I am not putting this out. And I think that is something to learn from. Sometimes, like, just don't force it, but also you don't got to put it out. You do not have to put out the whole thing. Some things just don't vibe, and I'm not about to put that person in a bad light on my channel. And I'm not about to put me in that type of energy space on my channel. So, yeah, that's something that I learned, and that's something that I would suggest for you, no matter. Be professional, because I did interview the person, because I told him, I was like, oh, you don't have to interview. Like, it's totally fine. I know you've been doing this. Like, I was professional about it, and I was like, you don't have to do it. And that person was like, no, just do the interview. And so I did it, but I'm not including it. So in that moment, I was professional, but again, this is my show. I was gonna say this is my SHIT. I ain't putting you on here. So that is a lesson that I learned. Like, you can be professional. That person will likely never know that I didn't include their interview. They probably don't care. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I wasn't about to be putting that energy out. So that's something that you can take with you. Here's your Monet note for today. If you are one of those people who are waiting until you feel fully prepared to say yes, this is your reminder that sometimes preparedness comes after you say yes. Sometimes you have to be willing to learn publicly so that the next time you do it, you can come back better than ever. I love you all. I wish you peace. To freedom, y'all.